Hey, it's Clay Williams, and welcome again to another edition of FH&P's Law Talk. I'm a partner here at FH&P, and we are recording this the day before the Olympics start. So we've got a cool show that you're going to like today because we've got the guys from Freestyle BC here today. Now, you guys were here before. Sven, Brett, you came and took over my show last time. I wasn't here. I listened to your podcast. You guys did a good job, but there's a couple things that I think you missed. My lawyer brain made me think, man, I got to ask some questions here. So let's start by just introducing you. Josh, can you introduce yourself and tell me what you do with Freestyle BC?
I am fortunate enough to work with these guys, and my role is executive director for Freestyle BC, and I've been in this chair for 8 years, leading the organization and serving an amazing community of athletes, coaches, and officials, and working very closely with an incredible board of directors that most of them are alumni to the sport, so they know it well. And we get to deliver great programs for awesome kids, keeping them outside doing fun things.
Excellent. Sven, tell us what's your role with Freestyle BC?
Name's Sven, and events manager for Freestyle BC. So kind of the overseer and coordinator of all the club regional events, really, from regional up into provincial and a little bit of the national level events. Anything that's kind of within the province of British Columbia, that's kind of my domain. And officials, judge development, that sort of thing. Just making sure all the events go smoothly, everyone's safe, fun, and fair. And it's a good way to stay involved in the sport. So,
all right. Yeah. And, of course, we've got Brett. Brett is, of course, an associate lawyer here at FH&P Lawyers, and the reason that you're here today. So, Brett, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I guess I'm the bridge between the two worlds here. I'm also the vice president of Big White Freestyle Ski Club, and this is a regional series we kind of came up with a few years ago. We just really wanted to bring it closer to home so it's easier for kids to get into the sport and make it easier for volunteers to get experience so that we can really keep this volunteer-driven sport alive and thriving.
Now, I listened to your podcast. There's a couple of things that, man, I think we need some explanation on. And first of all, what is freestyle? When you guys were talking last time, you're using things, we're going to do slope style, we're going to do well, what is all this stuff? So what are the I guess, different I don't know, what do they call them?
Disciplines.
Disciplines.
Let's each tackle one of them. I used to be a mogul skier back in the day. In the late 90s, early 2000s, I had dreams of being like Jean-Luc Brassard. And you go through a field of these moguls that are practically the size of a Volkswagen, and you're going through these giant bumps, 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 per second, and you've got 2 jumps. And you got to do your big tricks off the jumps, land back in the mogul field. And so you're judged on your style, the degree of difficulty on the tricks, and how clean you can ski down the mogul line. And then the time is a factor as well.
So how do they judge these things? On style, on flips, or how's that work?
Well, we got to talk to the judges about that one. I mean, I can give you a fairly close range of what they're looking for. Some of it is on turns, some of it is on air, and some of it is on speed. So you would have a base score for turns, and for every mistake or deviation, the judges will make deductions off of that. Your jump, the judges will have a scorebook that says you did a backflip or a backflip with the grab or this or that. And so then there's a degree of difficulty that they'll multiply that by. And again, they'll say, here's your raw score for how clean you did that and how well you landed it, and then multiply it by the degree of difficulty. And then speed is based upon, there's a pace set, either delivered by a forerunner or measured on how long the course is, how steep it is. They predict what the average time should be, and then you get a score based upon how close you are to that time. If you beat it, then you get a really good score, and if you're behind it, obviously your score will atrophy.
So this year we're going to see in the Olympics 2 racing side by side. That's going to be exciting, man.
Super exciting.
Oh, yeah.
In single moguls, it typically goes to the very best skier, and we know that Canada actually has the greatest mogul skier of all time, and so Mikhail Kingsbury will be the guy to beat, and he loves being in that spot. Yeah. He's also a very good dual mogul skier. That's anybody's game, because it's like head-to-head, and it's adrenaline of pacing the other guy down the course, and we we have a lot of great skiers representing Canada that are coming from BC at the games, but maybe we'll touch on that in a bit.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about, I don't know about you, but I want to hear more about the other disciplines.
So what are the other disciplines?
Next one's probably slopestyle. That was kind of born out of the more, let's say, rigid mogul skiing, right? And so free ski, if you will, was born. So this is a combination of kind of jumps or rail features, sliding features. Pick your way through the course on the way down. No timing involved. It's just, can you put down the smoothest, most kind of creative run that you're capable of, right?
So is this the one I see on TV? There's a bunch of structures and rails and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
they're getting pretty creative with what they're putting out there, right? And the different types of rails, up rails, down rails, ups with a flat section, that sort of thing. And as the sport kind of evolves and the coaching gets better and the facilities and training gets better, the stuff that we're seeing nowadays is like, there doesn't seem to be a ceiling. It just keeps getting better and better.
And so what about, is there any more?
Yeah, there are more. There's still big air and my personal favorite, half pipe. Half pipe is essentially what it sounds like, half a pipe built into the snow. Basically go down. It usually takes about 45 seconds per run, probably 4 to 5 hits, sometimes 6, depending on how big you go. You're looking at doing the biggest trick you can possibly do as high as you possibly can while still being stylish and making it all look very smooth. Then with big air, as the name kind of entails, you hit a massive jump. Either with skis, you either are going backwards, which we call switch, or you're going forwards, and you are trying to do as many spins, flips, and grabs as you possibly can before you
And it just seems every time I see it, it just seems to get more and more crazy at that big air. It's nuts, eh? So with Freestyle BC, who are your members? Like, is it children? Is it anybody? Like, who joins Freestyle BC?
I would say a solid 65 to 70% of our membership would be youth in the age of 6 to 12. And then the rest of it would be 12 to roughly 17 would be the core audience for our athletes. We're always looking for different ways to retain athletes longer. And a part of the Shred sessions and the Shred series is creating more regional opportunities to allow more families to be engaged closer to home, give more opportunities to kids in the community to get into it and stick with it.
So it sounds like a youth program mainly. Is that fair?
I think so, yeah. Like, I just don't want to like close the door on opportunities for other people to get involved. While we don't necessarily have like master's programs, it is something that we're looking at very carefully because a lot of kids.
I'm laughing. I'm just thinking of people my age and Matt doing flips. Forget it. But
there's some interest out there.
I think I would break.
I mean, perhaps, but if you're given the right direction, and that's what our programming is all about. Like, if you wanted to learn a flip, you're not too old, but we'd teach you how to do it properly by trained professionals in a trampoline environment. And then we would take you to, in the Okanagan, we would go just south of Penticton to the Oliver water ramps. And so we would teach you how to do that into the water. So there's no consequence other than maybe a belly flop. Like, that'd be your worst case scenario, but you're wearing a life jacket.
I wonder
so you're good.
It's not just winter stuff anymore. You're doing this for you're training.
You mentioned that there is a high degree of difficulty and it is a sport based in risk. And so it's about risk management. So from trampoline to water ramp, and then we'd take you north up to Silver Star and you'd utilize their airbags there. So that's the next progression to simulating on snow. So now you've had 100 backflips on the trampoline until you've proven to your coach. And then you're going to do 100 jumps into the pond. And then you're going to do 100 onto the airbag. And at that point, you've got 300 plus under your belt. You're ready to go on snow. And it is something that even an old dog can learn new tricks.
No, maybe not as old as me.
But to your question, our primary audience is youth. Absolutely. That is our target.
Well, so for our listeners, if there's parents out there thinking, hey, that's pretty cool, how do you get into this freestyle? Is it a club you join or how do you get involved? How do you put your kid in it?
I put my kid in it this year.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. Actually, the first time I've ever had to stand at the top of a course as a coach and an official and a dad at the same time. That was something new for me. But we're lucky out in the Okanagan, and hence kind of the success and why the Okanagan Shred Sessions can work is because we have so many great clubs dotted around the province in a relatively small distance from each other. So join a club. There's many out there, and the coaches can help assess where the kid fits within kind of the skill levels, generally at the fundamentals kind of mark to start things out. And through there's different kind of progressions and based on the skills they learn and where they want to go. If they're more of a moguls kid or a park kid, like a slope style kid, they can start dabbling in different programs. And we try to help everyone get the skills needed to progress equally throughout the different disciplines, right? Because it's just as a overall athlete development, that's the best thing to do at all. But there's phenomenal programs and phenomenal coaches across the province and certainly in the Okanagan that wherever you are, get involved in a club and then they can take you from there.
Right. So I guess that's the question. Each hill, it sounds like, has its own club?
You bet. So you would go to freestylebc.ski, and that's who we are. So we're the provincial sport organization, PSO, that oversees and governs each of the clubs. So we have 17 clubs in BC. If you come to our website, there's a club finder there. It explains our governance, best practice. So Sven oversees all of our events. So that's officials and judge development, as well as delivery of the shred sessions, tongue twister, and our timber tour. And then we have another person who's tasked to oversee all of our coach development to make sure that they meet all of the minimum requirements, and then we give them an opportunity to continue their development and coaching. And then from a club governance, my job is to make sure that they have a sound board of directors, that they have a strong set of policy to ensure that the coaches are treated well and the athletes have a secure and safe program for them to be involved in. So there's lots of opportunities in the Okanagan. As Sven alluded to, this has been a hot spot for talent for decades. And we were talking about Milano Cortina. I can give you a broad shot. There's 11 athletes from BC that are going to be representing Canada at the Olympics. We have 12 coaches. Some of them, softwood lumber, people think is our best export, but I call it's our ski coaches. So we've got 8 coaches that have come through our system that are now coaching for other nations at the Olympics in Milano Cortina, 4 of them for Team Canada. We have 2 guys running the Olympic broadcast, so they're going to be narrating moguls, slope style, and all that stuff. And then we have our the head TD overseeing all of the safety at the games at the Olympics is the same TD that we reference and train our officials here in BC. So we have a pretty rich history of developing all sorts of talent through our programs.
We're pretty lucky here with the hills and the snow, I guess. So hey, we should be.
There's a lot of ski hills,
but that's really good to know. We're so well represented.
We're lucky to have the support of the resorts and having amazing mountains as we do. But it really comes down to a lot of the volunteers and the people that have been doing this longer than any of us. So the coaches, officials. Like BC's got a lot of depth from the 80s and 90s that we're just building on.
So I want to include Brett here in this. The reason these guys are here is that Brett brought an idea to FH&P, and so I guess I wanted to hear a little bit about the background. Like, how do you move on from being like a person that kind of does cool stuff in the mountain to getting to the Olympics? I understand that's events. Is that right? Do you want to talk about how that happens and then how you develop these shred sessions?
Yeah, I think it kind of ties into what you were asking earlier about how do you get your kid into the sport. When I first joined a club, the first thing I wanted to do was compete, go to other mountains, check it out, see how I stacked up against the competition. I had absolutely no idea what the pathway was until I had joined a club. And then it was like, okay, now we have people above me on the provincial team. Then there's the national team. And you really want to figure out how to get there. And generally speaking, you go through a competitive circuit. You get experience at a local level, get your confidence, and then you go to a regional level, start traveling around more. And then you go provincially. And at that point, you're probably getting to figuring out whether you're going to go nationally and then internationally.
Tell me about, is it point system? Is that what you're trying to get to advance and go up the rankings? Is that how it works?
There is a bit of a point system, yeah.
Well, how do I know, or how does the Olympic Committee know? Oh, we're going to pick this guy, not this person.
Yeah, you're spot on. We have at the shred level, we do judge and they do get a score, but we don't want too much emphasis on outcome. It's really about process, community, And as Brett said, giving the athletes an opportunity to test their skills or perform on demand. Once you get to the Timber Tour level, that is very closely ranked. And so we have a team of people that run all of our scores into a system. We rank it. And then from there, you earn spots on to junior nationals or Canada Cup level. And then when you really have earned your keep, then you can do NORAM. And then at that point, maybe you've earned enough points to make it to the national program. So ranking's important. But I think that's why Brett was being gentle around that, because at this level of shred sessions, it's about community. It's about bringing kids together. It's about developing so much more than just gold, silver, bronze.
So this is the second year for these shred sessions, I guess. Is that right? And so as I understand it, then this is kind of a local event to let kids see how they like to compete.
Yeah.
See how they stack up against other kids. Is that fair?
Exactly. It's anybody from Sun Peaks down to Baldy. Any of the clubs in that area, they can come join up and try their hand at competing against their other local competitors. So we got the Mount Baldy Club, there's the Apex Freestyle Ski Club, the Big White Freestyle Ski Club, Silver Star Freestyle Ski Club, and then up to Sun Peaks. So anybody in that region can come out, try them out, get some experience. And one of the best parts that we've found is it's building up the volunteer pool, and the parents are getting to know each other so that when their kids are going to that next level, they know if they can't make a trip, it's easier for them to send their kid with somebody else. The clubs are building relationships with each other, and we're getting more trained officials to come take the burden off some of the older judges, the older TDs, the older chief of comps. And you're just building up that talent pool so that we can keep going up to the Olympics, right?
How's it going this year?
It's going really well. I think at Silver Star, one of my favorite moments was a guy who was just on the panel for the free ride judging last year. He was the head judge this year, and he just absolutely knocked it out of the park. He took the other new judges that he had this year right under his wing and was explaining everything. And I walked into the comp office that morning, and I was just unbelievably thrilled with how well he had stepped up into that role. And he didn't let anything fluster him. As with every freestyle skiing event, there's always weather challenges, and he had absolutely no qualms with adapting on the fly. It was great.
And well, that's great. And so this is, I think you explained it to me, this is kind of an event where kids can go without, it's not so much ranking, it's just to see how a competition works. Is that fair?
Yeah. Like, we do hand out medals. We do have the Stoke Cup.
Absolutely. There are results there. It's just not a heavy emphasis on it. And it's not points or rankings to get you. It's like you wouldn't earn a spot on the provincial team at this series.
It's an opportunity.
But you don't have to drive to Whistler either, I guess.
I mean, that's the root of it, is we wanted to reduce the financial barrier, create more opportunities. And I look closely at other sport models around the world. Norway is one that I look too carefully. Of a population of around 6 million people, they usually win the medal table at the Olympics. They win more than any other country. China, US, you name them, they're the best nation in the world. And it is against the law for a 12-year-old in any sport to travel more than 100 kilometers to their event.
Really?
It's not just best practice.
Oh, wow.
It is, I don't think Canadians would love that if we started to impose laws like that. But the point is, we want to create more opportunities to reduce financial barriers and create more, as you said, opportunities for volunteers and officials. And Brett, you nailed it. Like the fact that we trained somebody up last year, I would remove we. When you gentlemen trained up new officials last year and that they were able to take the lead, that tells me that these people want it. They just need the opportunity. And a good example that I lean into locally is the Whistler Weasel Workers. And it is an incredible population of volunteers that care a lot about alpine ski racing. And they have a pathway that they have a long list of people waiting to get up to the grassroots because they know eventually that crew's going to the Olympics. They might volunteer for 20 years, but they're going to be there in Milano Cortina. They're globally recognized support group. And so that's one of the models we look at of like creating opportunities for people to do things that they would like to do, which is supporting youth in the community.
And I never thought of that way. I thought about it as a youth event, but it's creating more than the youth. It's creating coaching and judging as well. That's great. So that's good to hear. So Thanks for bringing these guys here. As soon as he brought it to the partnership, and as a partner, I thought that's perfect. I'm a cool guy. I can hang out with a bunch of cool freestyle skiers, whoever they are. Sounds great. So I'm really happy that we had the opportunity. We continue to have the opportunity.
I will say thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of everybody within the freestyle ski community. The support that you're providing gives us the opportunity to train and develop more volunteers, more officials, create more opportunities locally. And it's no secret that at very best, government funding to subsidize our programs will stay status quo at best. It hasn't increased in 20 years, so $1 then is 50 cents now, so it's really hard to make a go of it. We need to continue to make meaningful connections within the community, so that's what this is, and continue to diversify how we support our programs. It is what it is. Skiing is a sport where it takes a lot of resource to get to the mountain, to buy your skis, to buy your boots, but we still make every effort to reduce as many financial barriers as possible so as many kids can get into it and stay into it, and we could not do it without you.
No, I thank you very much. That's great. Well, here's to a continued partnership. Guys, thanks for coming. That was a great session. Okay, and so I'm so happy to be able to sponsor the shred sessions. And thanks for coming out and telling us how important our sponsorship is and what the heck freestyle skiing is and what we're supporting. And so, hey, I hope that we can see you again. And for our viewers, and if you want some more information, please go to freestylebc.ski.